Welcome back to another fun-filled episode of Square State Sandlot Podcast. Got John Kenny joining me, and I am your host, Bill Montoya. Got a lot to break down, but mostly we'll be talking about NBA today, the Warriors and Mavs series that just finished up, and then we've got the Celtics and Heat ongoing series. Game 7 is tonight, so excited to see the results of that one, and then a couple other topics, but we'll go right into it. So, John, do you want to go into the Warriors first, or where you want to go?
Might as well start with the Warriors since they are headed to the finals, which is
Sixth
pretty
time
exciting.
with the core, so that's exciting. Good to see.
Yeah, I
How are you
just
feeling about
sorry.
that series they just wrapped up against the Mavs?
It was not exactly what I thought after the Mavericks played such a good game against the Suns. They had such a good series. They played so well. I thought it was going to be a more lopsided back and forth, kind of what like the Eastern Conference is going for. But the Warriors just took it to them. Uh,
Yeah,
it seemed like every game, not really a comeback, but they just seemed to outplay the Mavericks in the third and fourth quarter every time. Even the game they lost, it was an amazing comeback from 29 points down
yeah,
to within 8 with all of their reserves. And
yeah. No,
just to
that
see
was.
them play out of their mind was phenomenal.
It seemed like the Mavs would definitely give them their best punch in the first and second quarter, and then the Warriors would start to pull away towards the end. But yeah, that game was a game 4 that they lost. Um, the Mavs, yeah, 29-point lead. The bench brought it back to 8 points, and then for some reason Kerr brought the starters back in that had been sitting for the last 8-10 minutes, something like that. And I felt like he should have just let it ride with the bench since they were doing so well. And obviously, when you go out of the game expecting to sit the rest of the game, I don't know that the mindset's exactly, oh, now I got to get back up and go if we get close. So I would have liked to see the bench as well as they were playing just stay the rest of that game and see what they could do. And obviously they ended up winning the series in 5, so it's not a big deal. But
Right.
getting
But it
rest
was,
for Otto Porter Jr. and hopefully we'll have Iguodala and GP2 coming back for the finals. It sounds like Gary Payton's getting pretty close. They're confident he'll play. Maybe not the first or second game, but probably in that third game at the absolute latest, based on his current progress. So I think,
yeah, he's hopeful for game 1 is everything that I've heard, but realistically, I mean, game 2 at the earliest in my head.
yeah,
But
yeah. I
it's a big deal.
don't want to get my hopes up, and obviously who would have thought we were talking about the guy that barely made the roster,
I know.
at the beginning of the season, being one of the key contributors, especially on the defensive side of the basketball. So it's been a crazy season, and honestly, like when we started talking at the beginning of the season, this was kind of the expectation based on what they did last season without Clay, and then all the key contributors that they supposedly got in the draft. They got Moody and they got Kaminga, so there was a lot of hype coming into this season that they would be able to um, get back to the finals, and they've definitely lived up to that, even though they've been dealing with a lot of injuries too. Draymond, Steph, obviously Wiseman's missed the whole season. Iguodala has been out a good chunk of the season as well, so it's great to see what they've done. And yeah, I think the Mavs they have great players on their team. They have Dinwiddie, they have Brunson that really helped, but I don't think those guys are good enough to help Luka get over the hump. So I know those guys were all saying, "Be wary, we're coming for you," and same thing with the Grizzlies. But it'll be interesting to see how the West shapes out in the next couple of seasons, because I think obviously that's a little bit ahead of where we are right now. But until we know who the Warriors will be matching up against, that's kind of fun to at least think towards of what the West is going to look like next season.
Yeah, I just I have a hard time seeing the Mavericks going the distance with just Luka
Yeah.
and running everything through Luka. When you see the rest of the team like putting up the points, like was it Dorian Finney-Smith and uh, not Brunson? Who's the other guy's name with a B? That dude with the funny looking hair. He was 0 for 10 in game 5, 4.
Yeah.
I,
I don't
yeah,
know why I can't think of his name right now, but yeah, I know who
yeah.
you're talking about.
It's just hard to win when they're not performing ultimately. And they
Yeah.
had games when they can't miss. That game 4 against the starters, they couldn't miss. And
Bullock.
it's just hard. Bullock, yeah. Uh, I just can't see them going the distance with him touching the ball every time. Like, you can see he dribbles, he wants to get to the paint and then make a pass or make a play. And you just need something else. I think Bronson took it upon himself to be that something else. And I think it helped against the Suns. I think
Yeah.
he averaged 28 points a game. And I think that's why they won. You didn't see that from him against Golden State.
No, and I think the the matchups were definitely in favor of the Warriors because the Warriors can most of their players other than Steph can guard 1 through 4, including Wiggins. So and you even have like Draymond that can cover 1 through 5. So it's Brunson is definitely undersized, and he got kind of exposed on the defensive end. It seemed like they were just going after him, and yeah, a lot of their players on their team are definitely offense first, and some of them are offense only, and I think that definitely hurt them. The especially when they weren't shooting well, they couldn't keep up with the Warriors, and not that the Warriors shot the lights out. I mean,
Right.
they definitely had their struggles as well, but when they started missing those threes that they normally make, they would cut to the basket and try to get to the rim and force the subject. I mean, they were drawing fouls and doing whatever they could do to get some points on the board. Where it seemed like the Mavs were just willing to just stay behind the 3-point line, wait till there was 3 seconds left on the shot clock, and jack up a three. So it it was kind of surprising to me. I mean, Jason Kidd basically said we live by the three, we die by the three, and there weren't really any adjustments made from then on. So I don't know. It was weird, but it was kind of honestly how I expected it to go, just because of the matchups, the individual matchups for the series. I don't know that I saw it going in 5, but you know, I definitely thought that the Warriors would dominate that series. So,
Yeah.
what do you
I
think about the Celtics and Heat series? Have you been
I'm
watching that
surprised
one?
it's been like so overwhelming on either side.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
the
there's
whole playoffs
20-point
have really
wins.
been that way.
It is weird. I've never seen a playoffs like this. Like
Yeah,
there are some series where there are just good games after good games, and then there's just like I'm turning it off halfway through because they're just blowouts.
yeah.
And
And I don't turn it off when it's the Warriors because I've seen them come back
yeah,
from 30 behind and make a game out of it. But a lot of the other games, yeah, it's like there's a 30-point spread by the middle of the third quarter. It's like, well, I probably don't need to watch this, and that's how it's been pretty much throughout the entire playoffs. I mean, you have, and it's so weird to see a team dominate by 30 points one night and then lose by 30 the next night. It doesn't make sense, but that's what we've seen a lot, and a lot of people are attributing it to not enough time in between games, which I don't know that that's necessarily it, because it feels to me like there's a ton of time between all these games.
yeah,
But I
I
guess
think
I'm
that's
not
true
going out
too.
there and lacing up the shoes. But
Yeah,
I
it
don't
is the
know.
playoffs. I know they're playing a lot of hefty minutes, but they're two. I mean, they should be in the Eastern Conference Finals, two of the best teams. You should have
Yep.
two of the best teams. Like they shouldn't be blowouts. I mean, I could consider one game maybe having a blowout, but outside of that, they should be close, back and forth. I think it was game 6. They had uh, one of the announcers. He had mentioned like this is the first uh, lead change in today's game, or back then Friday, I think. But it was the 5th overall lead change in the entire series. Like
Yeah,
that
it's
is just
insane.
weird.
Yeah, because I can't remember which Grizzlies game against the Warriors, but there was what, like 26 lead changes or something, or maybe that was for the series. I don't know, but there was a ton of them just in
Yeah,
that one game alone. But yeah, no, it's weird how lopsided everything has been, but
and
I don't know.
they've also been winning away from home.
Yeah,
The away teams have been blowing out the home teams. So
yeah, that's
I'm
definitely
wanting
interesting.
the Heat to win. I think the Warriors are going to have a struggle against the Celtics if the Celtics make it. So I'm rooting for the Heat. And in this kind of situation, it doesn't seem like the Heat are going to come out ready to roar. I mean,
Yeah, I think the Heat are the team that's struggling more with injuries. I mean, they've had Harrow out, they've had Kyle Lowry out. Various players have missed games. I know Boston's been banged up uh, throughout the playoffs so far, but I think they're probably the healthiest they've been right now. So, and they have three legit players that are Tatum's a superstar, and then you have Brown and who am I
smart.
thinking of? Their
Smart?
third, yes, Smart. They've got those three guys that can go up against just about anyone in this league. I think the Warriors will probably be favored no matter which team wins. Um, and I think they could beat either team. But yeah, Boston definitely plays that stifling defense that the Warriors haven't seen a ton of uh, so far in this playoff series. And I guess the one other thing Boston mirrors them in is that they turn the ball over a lot too. So I don't know. It's tough to say. I think just because of the injuries that Miami's struggling with right now, I think that would be the better matchup. But I think the Warriors could beat either of these teams in the finals. So
Yeah, I look at a little bit. Celtics have never been there with this core.
yeah,
Maybe that would give them the edge. They have a terrific defense, and it
yeah.
can just show up. That Robert Williams is unbelievable around the rim.
Well, and he's the one that's been banged up for the most part this entire playoff. So if he's healthy, then yeah, I mean he's going to be a huge part of that defense. I'm excited to see this game tonight to see who ends up representing the East in the finals.
Yeah,
Um,
I hope
but I
it's a
think,
good game.
I mean, the Warriors have been resting for what 2 days already, while these guys are still going, and then they're going to have another 4 days to rest, and they're hosting it, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah. So should be
so
good.
exactly, and I'm hoping that the Warriors, the entire core, gets healthy. I am not entirely sure what the idea of playing Iguodala is if he comes back, but
Yeah.
he is such a high IQ player. It'd be hard for him not to make an impact.
Well, I mean, I think he's going to be doing what he has been all season, and that's coming off the bench and shutting down the other team's offense on the second team. So, I mean, he's still got some of the quickest and best hands in the league. I mean, he's always getting steals, always getting blocks, still very athletic. Obviously, he's not a big scorer at this point in his career, but he can cut to the basket, he can slam it home, and he's perpetually in motion just like the rest of the Warriors team does. So if he can get healthy, I think he will be a huge boost along with Gary Payton II. Those
Yeah,
two on just the defensive impact that they have is what warrants them being on the court. But Gary Payton II was contributing on the offensive side of the basketball as well in the playoffs. So if he can come back and do half the things he was doing with that bum arm, I mean, he's still going to be an addition to the team. So, right.
Fantastic.
Is there anything else you want to talk about in terms of NBA or? Oh yeah,
Uh,
you got a couple questions here.
yeah, they were just kind of like off the cuff. I've just been wondering about them for a while. Uh, I think my number one has to do with the Lakers because they're so popular, but they had a dumpster fire this season,
Yes.
and I don't think they know what to do. I've heard a bunch about trading Kyrie for Westbrook. I would love that trade just because I think it would be a disaster for both teams. But I can't remember who brought it up, but I had jumped on it and I had agreed wholeheartedly. The Lakers should consider trading LeBron James if they want to be a better team. They have given away so much these last few years. I think Anthony Davis is a better core, and what they could get for LeBron James makes sense to me. I think every team in the league would trade for LeBron James if they could. And I
Yeah.
would just look out to see, maybe finding something else.
My only concern is if you're going to build a team around Anthony Davis, you're going to have to plan on him not playing half the games in the season because even when he's healthy, they still load manage him because they're afraid he's going to get hurt. He's been hurt every season been with the Lakers for at least some amount of time. I would guess he's probably played in about half the games, if that, for his entire Lakers contract. I think the bubble was the exception when they shut the season down for COVID and then brought it back on a shortened season. I think that was the most he's played in a season since when he was with Pelicans. Um, so I don't know if I would exactly plan around building around Anthony Davis because he's so injury prone. But no, I think now's the time to get moving. I mean, it's going to be a difficult couple seasons, but this last season they missed the playoffs and they had all those guys. So I don't know what the positive forward looking is on that because all the rumors are saying that just to trade Westbrook and another team to be willing to take that contract, they want a one in return for that. So just to get rid of Russell Westbrook, they're going to have to give a team a first round pick, and I don't think they have one until like 2027 at this point. They've
Yeah,
traded all of them for the guys that they have acquired. So I don't know. I mean, it's if you're looking to recover some assets, it definitely makes sense to move on from LeBron. But at the same time, LeBron's going to give you a good chunk of the season. Obviously, he's getting a little bit older, so he's starting to do some of that load management as well, and taking some games off for when they have back to backs and things like that. But I don't know. It's going to be difficult for them to get rid of Westbrook. So if you think the better route to go to get that team back up on its feet the quickest is probably trading LeBron, keeping Westbrook, keeping Davis, or possibly even trading Davis, and just seeing what they can do in the next couple seasons, and then actually have some draft picks to recover. But I think what they're holding on to hopes for is that they can draft Bronny Jr. and keep LeBron there for the long term. But I don't know if that's the best plan either. We'll see.
yeah, it might be the best plan to sell tickets. I think a lot of people would show up for the games, and that
Yep.
might be the game plan, what they're looking for. My idea was just future picks, uh,
Yeah. Well, and they
looking
need
for the
some.
future a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
they've given away
Everything
basically
they've had.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
So
it's going to be a rough time coming soon for the Lakers, I think.
yeah. Well, and
So they
the
might
owners
just be
already
looking
talked
for it.
to the media and said, we're not happy. We're going to start making some changes around here. obviously they just hired their new head coach, and I can't even remember where. I know he came from Milwaukee system. He was assistant coach there or something, but so they got a new coach. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you've got LeBron on your team, you've already ceded some of that control. So I mean, it's got to be a guy that's willing to work with those guys at least. But the funny thing that I saw in this whole thing was Kent Bazemore
Yeah.
signed with the Lakers instead of the Warriors when he had basically the same offer, thinking that the Lakers were in a better spot to win a championship. And here the Lakers are missed the playoffs and the Warriors are going into the finals. And he just said, I think it was yesterday or the day before, man, I wish I would have went to the Warriors. Like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah. I heard he turned down more money for a bigger role in the offense.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is, he probably would have had a decent role because of Steph getting injured halfway through the season and all that. I mean, there's been plenty of guys. Clay was missing the entire first half of the season. That's why Jordan Poole got to step up so much, and we got to see what he was. So, I mean, I feel like he would have taken that role of Damian Lee and,
That's what I was thinking.
been the backup point guard when Steph came off the court. But I don't know. Interesting. Just thought I would put that in there because he shared on Twitter, congrats to my homies, but I'm sick.
Yeah, I saw that. And it's kind of interesting to see if he would have signed with them, what would have happened with Gary Payton?
Yeah.
Would he have made the team at all?
I think so. Well, I don't know because at the end of the day, Damian Lee is related to Steph, so if he wants him there, he's probably going to be there. So that's a tough question. I mean, I think so because I was reading an article earlier, I think it was a couple days ago, and it said it was just about Gary Payton and making the team. And essentially, Steph told the GM, he said, you got to sign him because I don't want to face him.
Yeah.
Because during the summer workouts and all that stuff, he was shutting Steph down pretty good, making it very difficult on him just to get shots off. So Steph had the foresight to see, yeah, he's going to be a contributor, and that's why they ended up making that 15th man spot for him. So I don't know. It's tough to say. I mean, obviously, all that's hearsay on what would have happened, but I bet he's definitely regretting that decision to sign with the Lakers at this point.
Yeah, I bet he's at home watching them play, just like kicking himself a little bit. Yeah,
could have been there.
He'd have been there.
All right, and then you had a note about the Ball brothers.
This was a few weeks ago because I know we haven't done our podcast for a few weeks, but I had seen the Ball brothers had mentioned if what is his name? The middle
Lonzo?
child.
No. I don't even know. Lonzo's the only one I know.
Lonzo, LaMelo.
LaMelo, there you go. That's the youngest. I can't remember the other one.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think it was LeVar saying if
LiAngelo. He's the one outside the league right now, right?
He was on the practice squad for the Hornets.
Okay.
So if he made the team and if all Ball brothers were on the same team, they would run a dynasty. And it was just another one of those, I almost hate it, but I love it at the same time because it's just absolute nonsense. Just like, LeVar was saying before, I can't remember their names. The oldest kid.
I think that's Lonzo, right?
Yeah, Lonzo. Got into the league. It was just fire of nonsense coming from LeVar. And it was just another one of those things that I love hearing it. It makes no sense. But I would like to see it. I would like to see it just to get proved wrong.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't hate LeVar for, being vocally outspoken for his kids and supporting the
Not
hell
at
out of
all.
his kids because, a lot of a lot of parents don't do that as much, but he I think the only reason that he annoys me is because how obnoxious he is about doing it. But
Exactly.
no, tough to fault him for, sticking up for his kids and all that. And I don't think having all three, I mean, two of them are really good. The Leangelo one, he's not been on a NBA team to actually contribute yet, so we'll see what he's got. But I don't know. Seems like
Yeah.
nonsense to me.
You can't say they're bad players because LaMelo's a fantastic player.
Yeah,
I
Lonzo's
think
not bad either.
exactly. I I think Chicago really missed him this season or this playoffs because
Oh,
they had one of the top defenses,
yeah,
and he loved to pass the ball, and he was good, and he started hitting his threes. I think he was at like 36 or 38% this season. So he's evolving into a great player. I think LaMelo will evolve into an all star. I think he's going to make a bid for all star.
yeah.
Uh, Leangelo, I don't know. I haven't seen him play at
No,
all.
he hasn't. I mean, he's
So
been, I think, in the G League, or I don't
yeah,
even know if he's been on a G League team, but yeah, he
but
hasn't signed.
I haven't seen him play in the G League games at all.
Yeah,
So I can't say like like a Jordan Poole. You could see him showing out. Moses Moody and Kaminga, they played fantastic down there. So I haven't seen him play, but I think it would be interesting and fun to to watch all of them play on the same team,
I don't know
even
if
if
it'll
they
ever
don't know.
happen based on their contracts, but it would definitely be interesting to see what three brothers could do all on the same team.
Yeah,
All right, and then let's move on to NFL notes. You've got your Packers schedule release. What did you think about that? And do you even care about the schedule release? I know a bunch of people get fired up about it, but I mean,
yeah,
to me,
it's
it's
just a
pretty
lot of
dumb.
drama. Yeah, it, baseless drama. The only thing for me is Green Bay has a game in London, so
That does
it's
suck.
exciting to see
Well,
that.
good for you, but sucks for the team.
Yeah, kinda. Like they have games in Germany now too.
Yeah.
So
Are you going to go to that game?
the ticket sales aren't out yet, so I want to see how much it's going to cost because last year when Miami played somebody not very good, it wasn't a very good matchup. But the tickets were like £300
Wow.
for cheap seats. That's like
Insane.
$400. I am not sure that I want to pay that much to go see Green Bay play like the Titans. I think
Is that who they're matched up against?
I'll have to
Let me
look,
check.
but I know it's not a marquee matchup. So
No, it's
I mean,
Giants.
Giants, yeah,
So
even
yeah,
worse.
that's going to be a blowout for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, it'd be cool to go because I could show Sean, a professional football game. I could get to go see the Packers. It's going to be an interesting season, so I think it'd still be fun. But
Yeah.
for 49er tickets or Las Vegas ticket prices, I'm not sure that I want to.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. I mean, I really want to go to the Raiders in Vegas this upcoming season. Think I might, but again, it's going to be all about the ticket prices. So we'll see. I want to go to that Week 18 versus the Chiefs matchup. That would be insanity. But I'm sure tickets for that are going to be 1,000 for the damn cheap seats.
Yeah.
And then, so you're feeling okay about the Packers schedule? What are you thinking their record's going to be? I mean, it's super early. We still don't even know who's going to be on the 53, but based on what you're seeing from what's on the schedule and how teams were last year, where do you think they'll go this year?
Well, I have no idea how the team's going to look at this point. Uh, Anyone outside of Julio Jones or OBJ, I haven't seen them sign yet. So if it's the Green Bay team as it is right now, I can't see him winning 13 games again. Minnesota's going to be a tough team. Uh,
They
I
got
don't know
Kirk
about.
Cousins.
Yeah, but they're always a good team. They have
I feel
Dalvin
like
Cook and
I feel like they're going to be on the downturn, and the Lions will probably surprise some people. Not that they're going to be, a playoff team, but I think they'll win closer to 6 to 8 than instead of what they go like 3 wins last year, 3-14,
sounds right.
something like that.
I don't
Obviously,
know.
you got to work around Jared Goff, but
I don't see. I still see him winning the conference,
yeah,
but I can't see him winning 13 again. I think that's a bit much. They have great running backs, which I think they can carry. They're going to have a great defense this season, so that's going to help them out a ton. But you know, Christian Watson as number one wide receiver, and then Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard. That's not boasting a whole lot of confidence.
yeah. But I think you guys are set up to run the rock a lot more. So I don't know if you're going to depend on Rodgers throwing for 6,000 yards in a season. I think this year it's going to be a lot more balanced offense, which I think in the long run is going to benefit you guys because you're not going to be relying on throwing the football when it's 10 degrees outside and snowing. You guys will actually have a semblance of a run game as well. So I think in the long run, having less receivers is actually going to be a blessing in disguise for you guys. So be
Well,
interesting to see what you guys do. Yeah, I don't think you'll win 13, but I think you'll win 12. So
how about you guys give us Darren Waller?
not happening. Well, I don't know. So I know what they told the front office told him you're not going anywhere, and that was a couple weeks ago. So that was because that Waller Waller to Green Bay trade that apparently almost happened during was it before the draft or I don't remember when it came up, but it was semi recently. Oh no, it was during the Devontae trade. They were talking about trading Waller for Devontae instead of a draft pick, but because he was franchise tagged, they couldn't trade him or something. I can't remember the exact specifics behind it, but so that was almost part of it. But then they redid it and made it a 1 and a 2 instead of Waller and a 2. Um, but yeah, the team has basically gone back and said to Darren Waller that you're not going anywhere. We promise we're not trying to trade you. That was just something that came up and was bounced off, but the paper never went through to make that trade official or whatever. So, but I did just see who was the tight end that just got extended from Cleveland yesterday. Browns.
Njoku? Is that?
Yeah, I think Njoku. Yeah, he just got extended yesterday, and they paid him I think 14 million a year, which is almost double what Waller's making with the Raiders. So I could
Wow.
definitely see him not being happy with that, especially since Waller has no more guaranteed money on his contract. So I know that come June 1st, the Raiders will have 20 million more in cap space. So possibly money to go to Waller, possibly money that can go to Renfro. I don't know if there's anyone still out there on the free agent market that we're looking at to bring in, but yeah, that's going to make it a lot more difficult for the Raiders to fit him and Renfro both under the salary cap because, yeah, David Njoku got a 4-year, $56.75 million extension yesterday. So that's crazy money for him. I don't think he's had more than 500 yards receiving in a season. And I think
Well, that
4 is his high for touchdowns.
yeah. I think he was like the second wide receiver on their team. I don't think he led the team in receptions by tight end.
No. Yeah, 36 receptions, 475 yards, and 4 touchdowns last season. And they're paying him that much money. That's insanity.
Right,
Like
that just
I
ruins the rest of the league.
I know they're paying him on upside because they think he's, a top tight end or whatever, but man, you got to make someone at least do something before you pay him like that. In my opinion, that's
You,
insane. But
whoever his agent is should get a huge bonus for talking that up.
that's what scares me about Waller. Now that extension is signed, well, maybe they can't get his deal done, and now they have to ship him out. So as of right now, I would say there's a 0% chance Waller gets moved. But maybe after this season, or if he's disgruntled and not showing up to workouts, which he's already been showing up to workouts. He showed up to OTAs and all that. So I don't see him holding out. I would love to see him get more money because he absolutely deserves it. But at the same time, he can't pay everyone. So
Exactly.
we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, I think what you guys should do is go out and sign Julio Jones right now. And then, yeah, maybe if you can make a trade for I don't know. Julio Jones at this point is probably a 2, maybe a 3. But I think in spurts he could still be a 1. I don't know. It's interesting. Anything else you want to talk about NFL wise?
I can't think of it right now. No.
Okay. All right. Well, we thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to call it a pod right now. Hope you guys tune in later this week. We should have another one coming out, and then again on Sunday. So
Cool.
hope you guys have a wonderful holiday weekend, Memorial Day. Remember what that's all about, and we'll catch you on the next